do this video, um, and I'll tell you why. I think it's important that we talk about portability versus things that can be portable, but not necessarily maybe the ideal situation for portability. Now, neither one of these devices that I'm going to talk about are the right one or the wrong one, unless it's the right one for you or the wrong one for you. So what I wanted to talk about or show you is the Push 3 standalone and then the MPC Live. Now, dimensions wise, the MPC Live is smaller in the sense of it's not as square as this thing is, right? It's more rectangular like. So imagine if you cut this top half off right here where this mouse, well, you probably can't see my mouse, but right here where the screen exists, that's you cut that portion off, and that's basically what the MPCs as far as width and depth would be. But the MPC is a thicker device, right? Because if you look here, you can see this thing is only about maybe a couple inches. The knobs add a little more height to it. But even if we took that measurement away, here's it on the side, the reality is most people would probably not take the Push out as a device that you're going to use on the go. However, that does not mean that it's not possible. In fact, here's Magma's bag where they have for $100 that actually fits this device. Now, there's other ones out there that are cheaper. I'm just showing you what's on the website. But here's the factor to me that you have to take into consideration. And it's this right here. 8.7 pounds. Now, I find it funny that people will say 8.7 pounds, that's ridiculous. And I could understand it, but at the same time, I find it funny because if you've ever played an instrument, a guitar or a keyboard or anything of that nature, they all weigh anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds. And people carry those things around to go play all the time. So is it portable or is it not portable? That's the question you have to figure out for yourself. Now, the one thing I'll say about the Push 3 is it doesn't have but a 2-hour battery. So that alone is going to be a challenge when you go out. You only have so much time you can use it. So you got to be effective and think about how you want to work when you use it out and about. Whereas the MPC, we'll go look at the Live. And the reason why I'm using the Live is because it has a battery. I mean, you could compare this to the other ones that are out there, but they don't have batteries. So, in all actuality, that won't be a good comparison in my opinion because you need to have a battery to consider it even being portable. 7.45 pounds. So the width of it is actually wider than the Push, but the depth is shorter. So it's wider. So that being said, they're about the same when it comes to the height. I think the MPC might be a little bit more, but up to 4 hours. Now, I've seen something where they say 6 hours. I think it was over here. Let me see. It says 6 hours, but I had one and I've never seen anybody get 6 hours off of their battery. If they do, they need to get on YouTube and teach everybody. But anyway, so 4 hours for this one, 2 hours for the Push. So yeah, granted, they're different. Yes, they have a different workflow. And, both are good. It really depends on what you want. Auto sampling and sampling in general exists within this one. So there's some features that are like that you might enjoy. You might hate the fact that they only have 2 gigs of RAM and 16 on board for storage. But you got SD card slots and expandable SSD option. Whereas with the Push, you don't. You don't have the SD card slots. You can hook an audio interface to it, but technically, why would you do that? Because it's already an audio interface unless you need some extra type of recording. And the limitation here is you only have 8 audio tracks, whereas you have more on the push. But it depends on what software you're on. So if you're on the intro, what it comes with, that's 16 audio tracks or 16 tracks total. Whereas if you have a standard or the suite version, you have unlimited tracks. So it just really comes down to what you need. Now, I don't think you'll ever have to worry about using 128 MIDI tracks on an MPC. At that point, I don't know if the machine would crash anyway with this little bit of RAM. But the point is, you have it as an option. And to me, both the MPC and the Push 3 are probably the best samplers on the market that are out. That's just an opinion. Somebody might feel like the Machine Plus is, but okay. In my opinion, though, the MPC Live 2 and the Push 3 are the best options with regards to that. Otherwise, if you're talking about a computer, of course, a computer is the better option for more stuff. Now, the MPC has its instruments, which are okay. And the Push 3 has its instruments, which are definitely not as good as the MPC. But I like all the effects and things in Ableton. And the MPC, I'm not as fond of the effects and the plugins. So there's a give and take. But the sampler in both of these are just as capable. The Warp in the Push 3, I think, is better. I think it has... it handles that type of workflow a lot better, but the MPC has the stem splitting if you like that. So depends on what you're looking for and what you need, right? That's what it comes down to. And of course the price depends too, because you're talking about on sale half the cost of what a Push 3 is. But even not on sale, it's still like 2/3 the cost. So depends on what you want to get out of it. And you have to keep this in mind too. The Push 3 really you need some software with it. You need to have Ableton, at least the intro, to be able to really get the best out of it. Because when you go to move your songs out, there is no export option except for to Ableton. So that's why, unless you're going to learn Ableton, some of the basics of it, I would say don't get the Push 3 if you're trying to get it just for a sampler, because you're going to regret the fact that you need to plug into a computer at some point. Whereas the MPC is definitely more standalone driven, and then you can use it to do other stuff. But it's in the title right here: standalone sampler and sequencer. That's what it does best. That's its strength. All the other stuff is just added things to make it, more modern and make it more useful for other people that may want to get involved in that. So anyway, that's my take on these, and why I say portability in my mind is not the MPC Live 2 or the Push 3. I think both are portable. But when I think of portable, I think of the Move. Now, I don't have the Move. I'm not probably going to get the Move because I'm content with what I have. But this is more of a portable device. It's small. It's not going to be a heavy load for you to lift. Let's see what the weight is. Yeah, 2.13 pounds. And then if you want something that's a little more pricey to look at, you have the Teenage Engineering stuff, which is like the OP1s and the OPXYs and the XT. That will never happen. Let's see here. All right, XY. So, really? EX. I still can't bring up Teenage. That's funny. It doesn't even want to bring it up. Hold on. We'll just type teenage. There we go. Really, you can't find it? What kind of search engine it is? Press hold to confirm you're not a ball. Of course I'm not a... Okay, Sweetwater. Maybe Sweetwater doesn't sell it. You know what? I might be wrong. They may not even sell it. All right, American Music Supply for sure. Or American Musical. They have it. Just type in the word teenage. And you can come down and see. I'm just going to use the OP1. That's fine. Prices are the same prices of Push. It's crazy. Overview. I don't think they put the weight in here. They do put the dimensions. But I can tell you from having one, it's about the same weight as the Move. About 2 pounds. Maybe 3 at the most. That'd be pushing it. But yeah. So when you look at this, you compare it to things like the Move and other smaller ones, the Seek Track, which I don't any intention of using. Not a fan of it at all. And some of the other things like the Roland's P6, which is even lighter weight than those. So here, if we go down, it's 11 ounces. It's not even a pound. So these are what I would call portable, little portable samplers, portable instruments, however you want to term it. And they work pretty good. But it all comes down to, again, what do you want from a device? Does portability mean you need to have a battery? Or does portability have to do with weight? Because even the MPC Keys 37 is only 8.8, so it's just a little bit, about a half a pound heavier than the Push 3. So again, it comes down to what do you want. For me, battery is extremely important in portability. If you don't have a battery, I don't really even consider it portable. Because I don't want to plug in if I'm going portable. Also, does the device carry enough stuff in it for you to make music? Because there are some devices that are portable that I feel like, that's not enough. But I ultimately will say the best portable device that you can have for yourself really is your iPhone or iPad. If I'm being honest, that is the most portable device because you carry it all the time. And with Koala, Drumbo, if you have an iPad, you got Beatmaker 3, and other apps like even Logic now being on the iPad, you have pretty good options for really moving around and making music if portability is what you want. So again, I'm talking about portability and from my standpoint, but in the comments, I would love to hear what you consider portable. Can't even get the words out. What do you consider portable? So I just want to hear it. I'm just curious. Everybody has their opinions on it, and I like to hear your opinions. Hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. All right, I'm out.